NaNiwa, welcome back to the WCS Season 2 Finals. Good stuff. Very good, very good. Nice crowd here, of course, at Gamescom 2013. Welcome back. Myself, Red Eye, and Chobra alongside me for the second quarter-final. Before we get there, let's check in with the bracket and show you how we've got through so far. So first one done, and appropriately enough, first is the first man through. I had to get one of those puns in today.
Yeah, first moving on in that full best of 5. Great match, so much fun, very back and forth, and that just sets it up for the rest of the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it really does. And let's check out what game we've got next. Let's show you. It is a battle of old foes, fast becoming a Heart of the Swarm classic matchup, this one. If you're not aware of the history, I'm not even going to remind you right now because the commentators are going to tell you all about it, because we do have the original commentators from the previous 2 games, and they know more than anyone about these two. But Chobra, Jaedong versus NaNiwa, I'm mightily excited.
So very exciting. I mean, the excitement is not just about the names, it's not just about the rivalry, it's also their stories in this tournament itself, both of them, to be able to go this far and now be facing off, and one of them is guaranteed in the semifinals. That's the other thing, is that no matter who wins, we're going to have a great story at our hands for the first semifinal.
Yes, we are. It's time to introduce you to the 2 players. Forget what race they play right now. This is just JVN. That's all you need to know. Chobra, introduce player 1.
Player 1 is the player that reminded us all and had us asking yesterday, is he back? Is the Tyrant back here in StarCraft 2? We'll have to wait to find out as he faces NaNiwa. It's going to be none other than EG Jaedong.
After an initial defeat yesterday, he had to fight his way through the playoffs, and he did that successfully, taking down yet another fantastic play. He's had a great run through the tournament already. He is the one only king in the north. Please make some noise for Alliance NaNiwa! Okay, almost time to get this one underway. We'll go over to our commentary team. I'll let you decide which one's Hannibal and which one's Face. All we know is they're called the A-Team. It's Apollo and Artosis.
Thank you so much, Red Eye and Chobra. Apollo, we have seen this match before. It was one of the most exciting matches we have ever casted, we have ever seen, we have ever had the privilege to see, really. Get on the internet, let everyone know, get on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, everything. This is the match today that I think everybody needs to see.
Out of all 4 quarterfinals we have, Scarlet is up there as well, but this one stands out more than any other quarterfinal game. This is going to be a big one. They've met a couple times in the past. We've had the pleasure of commentating them in the past as well in a DreamHack semifinals, one of the most legendary games that we've seen so far this year. And they meet again in the round of 8 here.
You know, back then, Apollo, NaNiwa went through Zerg after Zerg after Zerg. He killed off TLO, he killed off Sort of, and then he went up against Jaedong, who was, for the first time, really killing it in a foreigner event. But then it was so epic. This was in the tournament where NaNiwa revolutionized PvZ and showed us all that Gateway expands are back and here to stay.
And he's doing it again now with Protoss versus Zerg play in the Europe Premier League. He beat out 2 Zerg players, Tefl and Vortex, by using a very unique style. Heavy Void Ray play, lots of Sentry, over into Storm. This is something which they couldn't figure out. In the time frame they were given, in a best of 3, best of 5, they couldn't figure it out. Jaedong now is going to have to go up against NaNiwa, who, you know, it's been a while since we saw him play in the Premier League in Europe. What has he got up his sleeves this time around when they meet?
It's hard to say. You know, a lot of people have been talking about it. NaNiwa hides his play. He doesn't stream much. He plays really big tournaments, but you don't see him as much in some of the smaller ones. So I'm not exactly sure, but his play in WCS Europe when he was going up against those Zerg players, I thought was a thing of beauty, Apollo, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has either that or a slightly modified version of that to use against Jaedong.
I mean, Jaedong's had just a good run for himself in the North American Premier League, going 2-0 versus Oz, 3-2 versus Jim, and then coming to the Season 2 finals, he beat Rain 2-0 in the first game of the tournament, and then closed up with a 2-1 win over MC to advance in first place in Group A in the round of 16. Now he faces another Protoss player. Is it time for Jaedong to finally get revenge on NaNiwa, or does NaNiwa score the hat-trick Artosis over Jaedong?
Well, it's so hard to say. You know, NaNiwa has beaten him twice, but Jaedong is looking better than ever. And you have to remember, Jaedong was preparing probably mostly Zerg versus Protoss for this, whereas NaNiwa in his previous group, I guarantee you he was playing a lot of PvP and a lot of PvT.
All right, well, we have the veto shaping up, so we know they're both playstyles. Jaedong seems very, I think I'd say linear a little bit with his playstyle. I don't think he has a large variety of styles at the moment because he's still trying to figure it out. He plays very heavy, very defensively, lots of lings, lots of roaches, and then goes up to Hydralisk. But the one key structure of his play is the Mutalisk switch.
Yes.
That's something that is very obvious, and NaNiwa will have at the front of his mind for every single map at every single minute of the game.
That is the most important part, I would say, Apollo. You know, he was known for Mutalisks in StarCraft 1, and now in StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, he's really making them work. His Mutalisk switches are amazing. We're watching him engage, 5+ Archon, Psystorm, and Stalkers, all with +3 attack, with just a huge clump of mutas and killing it.
All right, we talked about Jaedong and who he's beaten so far this event. NaNiwa started off in a little bit of a rivalry, I suppose you could say, against DugDug, having lost to him multiple times already this season. He lost again here at the season finals in his first game. Then, it seemed he was doomed. It seemed like he was destined to leave the tournament early as he had to face off against Innovation in the losers match. Somehow, some way, NaNiwa 2-0'd Innovation, the #1 ranked player worldwide, and then had the chance to revenge himself against DugDug, which he did. 2-0 Innovation, 2-0 DugDug. And now he's in this position right now, up against Jaedong. He seems confident backstage when I talked to him a little bit earlier, and other players have talked to him as well. He is confident going into this series against Jaedong.
Well, a lot of times so far this weekend, though, Apollo, the confident player has been the player that's lost. So I don't know exactly what that means for this match. At the same time, Jaedong has lost multiple times to NaNiwa. We've been talking a lot about he must be angry. He hasn't won anything in StarCraft 2 yet. He's been getting so many second places.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's lost to NaNiwa not once but twice in major events, I do think that Jaedong is going to play this match very angrily. And
yes,
for anyone that followed him in StarCraft 1, you know that an angry Jaedong is the best playing Jaedong that there is.
Even though we saw a lot of emotion out of Jaedong by beating Rain 2-0 and beating MC 2-1, I'm pretty sure this series means more than both of them combined.
Yes.
If he's able to topple an opponent that he's lost to twice over the last 6 months, 2-0 in the most recent one, and then 2-1 at DreamHack. But here is NaNiwa. Look at those sexy stats when it comes to playing in the WCS.
That is astounding. 70%, 75, 73. This guy is nearly unstoppable in every matchup. To have a win percentage that high, it almost never happens. The top pro gamers are oftentimes 55 to 60% in a matchup.
Absolutely remarkable, and the players he's beat along the way as well. 2-1 versus Lucifron was a series that he also thought he was going to lose because he had to play from Korea in the round of 32 against Lucifron, who played on the European server from Europe, and he made it possible. NaNiwa just seems to be, with the results he's had so far in Heart of the Swarm, I'd say the #1 player outside of Korea at the moment.
It is seeming that way, Apollo, but it oftentimes does. NaNiwa has been doing this for years already, showing us that he is one of the greats who can compete on this level with the Korean players.
And here we have Jaedong. 55% against Protoss stands out. It is the weakest, but he's improving. Look at the Protoss players on that right-hand side there. Oz, Jim, Rain, and MC. The last 4 players he's played against, he has beaten.
That's right. Even taking out Puck, a great Protoss from America. I mean, Jaedong, I think the days of his weak ZVP are over. He's been showing such great play this weekend. And you know what? I look at the two players, I think about their styles and how they match up, and I have a question to pose you, because the way that NaNiwa has been playing with that gateway expansion, going into the Void Rays, using a lot of sentries, going up to Psystorm, getting some charge zealots in there as well. How do you think that's going to match up with what seems to be the cornerstone of early Jaedong ZVP, which we've seen a lot of Ling Hydra pressure from?
Ling Hydra pressure was the strategies which Vortex and Tefl relied on to try something. But NaNiwa's force fields and ability to be able to control how many Hydras he fights every time, it was easy for NaNiwa to deal with. But the one difference between those players and Jaedong is that Jaedong sets up flanks and can come from behind and surprise you where you're least expecting it. That's the difference between those players. But overall, I think that NaNiwa's probably feeling very confident going up against the core style of Jaedong.
Yeah, you know, that is so true, Apollo. If you have enough sentries on these maps, you're gonna be fine. And speaking of them, Belshir Vestige is our first map. Definitely a map where force fields are gonna be quite strong while you're trying to take your third base.
And Jaedong, I'm not too sure how much he knows about NaNiwa's recent play. NaNiwa plays under a barcode in Korea. Nobody knows who he is, what he's doing with his strategies. The only real games we've seen from him against Zerg are the games we just described. And that was a while ago now. That's a week, 2 weeks ago. Has he changed? And I think not.
I have to agree with you. I think he's been spending his time practicing against the other two races, and he's probably going to use his SOC builds, the builds he knows he can win with, which is exactly what he used in WCS Europe.
All right, it is time to begin this epic best of 5. I am pumped for this. I hope you guys are as well. A best of 5 is going to be intense. It's going to be awesome. It is the rematch between Jaedong and NaNiwa. It starts on Belshir Vestige. What more could we ask for here at the Season 2 Finals?
Starting down in the bottom right of Belshir Vestige, a great Zerg player, the Tyrant himself. Give it up for EG Jaedong.
Already looking focused. Already has his mind set on the goal. But he goes up against a player who, by God, has been performing very well today and yesterday as well. Of course, it is NaNiwa.
And Sean, I have to say, you know, he's looking quite focused as well.
Yes.
And he's doing something I actually did not expect to see as an opening on this map. It looks like he's going for a Forge Fast expansion as opposed to a Gateway expand, which we see him do the majority of the time.
And this is a 12 Forge. Was it a okay, 13 Forge?
Okay.
This is incredibly early here, Autosis.
Well, it's certainly looking like it's going to be a cannon rush. And as many of us know, on Belshir Vestige, if Zerg is at the bottom spot, there is a very powerful cannon rush. Oh my God. Look, he is scouting for it, but NaNiwa did not go 9 scout. He went scout on 13 after the Forge, knowing Jaedong would check there. And now Jaedong going hatchery first, knowing that NaNiwa likes Gateway expands. This is brilliant, the mind games that we're seeing here.
They know each other so well. NaNiwa's just picked the right strategy. There's the pylon. We're actually going to see it here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And the funny thing is, I want to just remind you of something, Autosis. We cast the games together previously. Jaedong's going to hatchery first every game because of NaNiwa's style. And if you remember what happened on this map last time, it was a proxy double gateway.
It was a proxy double gateway. These two know each other so well. They practiced together at the EGTL house in Korea. They played so many games professionally against each other. They know each other perfectly well, and you can see that here. Now Jaedong sees what's going on. Does he cancel the hatchery?
Oh man, a lot of Zerg players like to keep it in this position. They like to try to keep on to try and keep it alive here, but I don't think this is possible. He's already moved the drone off. This is not going to happen.
He's going to cancel that. I think there's no two ways about this. He's trying to wait to the last second. There you go. The cancel does go down. So a good save by Jaedong there, but still, NaNiwa has to be at least a little bit happy with how this has turned out.
It's a good start here, a great start here for NaNiwa, picking the right strategy against his opponents. And also remember, this is a best of 5, not a best of 3. Every time they've played before, it's been a best of 3.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, these mind games, are going to shine a lot more than previously.
It's very true. Now, Jaedong is scouting through NaNiwa's base at this point and sees that, okay, you know what, at least the Nexus was really late. In the meantime, look at this, NaNiwa finds the third base of Jaedong. Crazy location. What do you think about that, Apollo?
That's a very difficult location to defend, first of all. Any form of aggression that NaNiwa could go for here could easily punish this. There's not going to be creep connected to that anytime soon here. Very difficult to defend, but it depends on what NaNiwa tries to do here. What is his plan behind this?
Oh, he's trying to go for another cannon rush, but Zerglings are cycling through looking for things like this. So I think he's just going to have to cancel.
This shouldn't work at all, but do you think that NaNiwa, knowing that this hatchery is here, will build a strategy for the rest of the game around this?
I think he will, Apollo, and the question is, what is that strategy going to be? I almost feel like opening up with Stargate might be nice. To connect these three bases with creep is going to be nearly impossible.
Would you say Void Ray from that Stargate then?
I think that's a very good choice, to be honest. You're going to force so many spores, so many queens, you're just going to throw the Zerg into a terrible funk.
Well, Jaedong's taking double gases back at home here. He's going to need gas. He's going to need a lot of things here to be able to make this work. As NaNiwa has started off this series rather well, looking to pick up this first map. He's certainly got a lead. And we'll see what Jaedong's going to do to combat this. So Jaedong clearly knows the threat, which is there. I mean, if we can identify it, man, Jaedong's going to identify it.
I would hope so. You know, but when he makes that hatchery, he has to think, how do I defend this against the various things NaNiwa could do? And notice that NaNiwa is getting a really quick +1 as well. So this could be like a Stargate, 3-gate type of pressure play. And anything like that is going to be hard to defend for Jaedong.
It definitely looks like it's some form of a play towards that base. He's got a pylon, it's got double cannons. Imagine if he was harassing this base completely on this other side of the map, and then was to use that pylon supported by 2 cannons to warp in Zealots towards the main base. NaNiwa has a lot of options to choose from this.
He certainly does, and look at that, he's adding a couple more gases as well, so not really going all in off this, but he's going to get some damage done, I would say. We do have a Roach Warren coming up now for Jaedong, but is he actually going to have the right amount of anti-air when the Stargate units start moving in? I think that's the one thing I'm really scared about for him.
Well, NaNiwa's going to have to dance this Stalker away from these Zerglings. Doesn't want to lose anything for free here. That would just be a complete waste. And behind this, NaNiwa is throwing down additional gateways. A couple have been spotted immediately by this Overlord as well. Jaedong getting first eyes on that. But a Phoenix has been constructed here, Autosis, over the possibility of the Void Ray. What do you make of the Phoenixes? Is it like a Phoenix +1 with Zealots? Is it a bit of combination of both here?
I feel like it probably will be, at least for a little bit. You know, he's going to force him into making a lot of probably Spore Crawlers, fly around with these Phoenixes, but with 11 Roaches on the way right now,
it's a lot.
If NaNiwa actually goes ahead and starts warping in a bunch of Zealots down to that pylon, they're just going to get destroyed.
Well, 11 Roaches are going to kill 2 cannons in that pylon at the south side, which will open up another expansion later on for Jaedong. But for the time being here, NaNiwa hasn't really gotten out on the map, aside from that cannon protected around the pylon, There is another probe on the right-hand side, though.
It's a lot further away. I don't know if he's going to even try that anymore, but we do see it go down, so we'll see about that. Actually warping in some Zealots here. I'm not sure how much I like that idea.
Well, they are going to drop quite fast here. 1 Roach, 2 Roach, 3 Roaches almost have gone down. The cannon will fall. In come the Phoenixes on the left-hand side. There's no Spore Crawlers yet. As you see, they're just now starting, but he is going to pick up this Queen and will kill this Queen.
Yeah, definitely a big annoyance here, but the amount of damage he's going to get done, I feel, it will be negligible. And as long as this base is safer now, as NaNiwa moves out to probably take a third after this Robo's done, Jaedong's going to be able to take a very safe 4th base.
Well, Jaedong's got the Hydralisk Den coming down. He seems quite comfortable. Do you ever feel here that NaNiwa's missed an opportunity, or...?
You know, I almost do. I feel like, what if it was Void Ray Phoenix? You know, the Roaches suddenly look a lot worse in that situation. You're pressuring that 3rd base quite a bit. It might have worked out better.
And a big supply block here, unfortunately, for NaNiwa. Stuck at 76 supply, trying to chrono boost out an Immortal, I think it was. That wasn't going to work. And Jaedong now 108 supply up to potentially 150. With Hydralisk on the way, a 4th base being taken.
This is really nice play here by Jaedong, and in fact he sees basically what these units are, and there's no way that any push is going to kill him anytime soon. I feel like NaNiwa needs to get a lot more units to have any chance of attacking, and even then, I strongly doubt he's going to move out for an actual attack.
Well, a couple of extra gateways coming down here, just kind of keep his money low before he can take his third base. A couple of zealots, though, have been walked in, and they are going to come down to this expected fourth base to be taken, and it looks like he should be able to get a cancel on this, so that's actually not too bad of a start to do something here. Well, Hydras are on their way over, but Phoenix is here.
Yeah, the Phoenix is going to try to help out against anything that happens here, but he definitely needs to get the cancel. The cancel does go down, flies in with the Phoenixes, a very nice move indeed, losing one of the Phoenixes, but picking off a decent amount of Hydras here.
Yeah, Zealots in there as well. 83 supply here from NaNiwa, 111 for Jaedong. Still relatively close at this point as NaNiwa sets up to take his third base. Robotics Bay on the way now to switch over to Colossus as well as the Twilight Council here.
And you know what? NaNiwa, it looks like he's going to be pretty safe to take that third. He does only have 3 sentries, though, so I would love to see a couple more of those, especially since he has the 500 gas sitting there.
Is there any opportunity for Jaedong to do damage here? He's got 42 Zerglings on the way. He's got 11 Hydras and a few Roaches with them. There's not that many force fields. There's 2 Immortals, a Colossus on the way. You
know, I think what he's going to try to do here is poke in with the kind of scary Roach Hydra Force, then come around the side with a lot of Speedlings. This is going to make it very hard to utilize only 3 sentries worth of force fields to block things out correctly.
Well, it looks like Jaedong is about to find this pylon on the right-hand side where those initial Zealots were warped in from, but NaNiwa needs that Colossus, and he needs to focus on not losing it, not letting it happen like Rain did, it getting picked off carelessly, as Phoenix is just trying to slow down Jaedong as much as possible, but he is building a lot of units. He's got good upgrades, he's got another Evolution Chamber as well, and there the first Colossus pops out, but Jaedong's posturing up.
Yeah, Jaedong is actually putting a lot of money into these layer tech ground units right now, so he's going to have to get at least a little something done, whether that's forced cancel or kill on that third base, maybe taking out a bunch of sentries and a Colossus. Something needs to happen.
Well, Jaedong's got a lot of supply here, guys. NaNiwa's going to have to control this very well. Force fields are crucial at this point. Let's see if NaNiwa can hold on against Jaedong's aggression. 106 supply for Jaedong, 62 for NaNiwa.
And he does bait out that Nexus cannon. A good move by Jaedong, moving around the map a whole lot right now. A lot of map control for Jaedong. He is up to these 4 bases as well, and that Spire's going down.
The Spire's the scary part here, and we all know what that can mean. A Mula switch could definitely come into play here with all 8 gases now active. Jaedong not even focusing on minerals on that one, but here we do see him move in from different angles. This doesn't look too bad for NaNiwa here, Autosis.
No, it looks like he should be able to hold this, but you know what? Throwing away a lot of lings. He's going to go after these upgrades right now, Apollo, and it looks like he will get that forge.
+2 attack goes down. Jaedong picks up +2 there. And that's at least something here, as NaNiwa does pick up a couple of those loose units left and right. But still, is it Mulus coming into play? Does he even have room to do something like that? I don't think he will.
No.
I think he'll just get +1 attack for now, savor it, and maybe later on.
You know, there is a possibility that we'll see a big Corruptor force, because NaNiwa is poking out in the map a little bit, and if you catch this army out in the map with maxed out Roach Hydra with a bunch of Corruptors, you may be able to kill it off, especially with such a low sentry count.
Well, NaNiwa is starting to get quite scary here for Jaedong, and there do the Corruptors come into play. 9 Corruptors. I'm not sure if that's enough or not. The Forge is going to get picked off again here. Nice play by Jaedong. Just a handful of units there. And he's even going to continue to move forward here. The cannon and the Photon Overcharge has to be activated. We can always run into the main base, but the main focus is this army. Jaedong doesn't even know it's there.
Is this going to be kind of a base trade going on? Will Jaedong turn around? No, he's going for it, Apollo. And without that Mothership Core back with his army, there's no way for NaNiwa to really defend this attack.
I don't know what the hell is going on in this game anymore. This just becomes completely wild and crazy as Jaedong's going to pick off the Robotic Facility. No more Colossus. He's going to pick off the Nexus. He's going to get into the gateways here.
Oh, that's too many Roaches for these Warped-in Zealots to really do that much, but the main army of NaNiwa is, in fact, very scary. The thing is, Jaedong still has 2 mining bases while he's killing off 2 of NaNiwa's.
Oh, the Corrupt is going to be enough to bring down the Colossus. A bunch of Spines coming to protect this base on the left-hand side. The base trade fully activated now as Jaedong is ripping apart the main base here. The natural is gone. NaNiwa still needs to think of how to approach the fight.
This is really tough. He's sending back about half of his army right now, and that half may be enough to start clearing out this Zerg army, but Jaedong is still on those 2 bases, and if he can kill 1/2 of NaNiwa's army, I feel like he'll be able to take it.
A couple of Corruptors are going down here, but likewise the Phoenixes, a couple of Roaches coming to support them.
And these three Colossus in for a beating. Apollo, they are being taken out so quickly. That leaves just the Stalkers, which will be killed as well. In the meantime, we do have NaNiwa's other half of his army trying to take on all these Jaedong units, but look at the supply.
Jaedong's still got 2 mining bases here. NaNiwa's got 1. Jaedong has a roach farm she's building roaches from at this point. And NaNiwa's found himself in a very difficult situation here. From a great start, all of a sudden, this is not looking so bright.
Yeah, this is what a counterattack by Jaedong. Great timing on those Corruptors. If he was any later, he may not have been able to even get them out. But in the meantime, what does NaNiwa even try? I think he's dead, Apollo.
I think he's dead as well. Here as Jaedong comes in. GG! Map number 1 goes to Jaedong.
Absolute madness. Great play by both players here, but Jaedong dealt with everything seemingly with ease.
And now NaNiwa needs to think about things a little bit more. What's he do on the next map? How does that first map affect him? Jaedong staring down that screen, not showing too much emotion there. Focus on the end goal here. This is just map 1 of a best of 5. There's a long way to go yet.
Well, you know what? This game, his cannon rush kind of worked out. It did get a cancel. If the cancel hadn't happened, he would have been way ahead. Did get that small lead, but Jaedong was so smart. He looked at the situation. He did this before, exactly before against MC, where he knew that because his base was so disjointed, MC would do a big follow-up. So he actually went right into Roachling here again as well, which gave him the units he needed to make sure NaNiwa couldn't get anything done with his tech choices.
All right, Coach Artosis.
Yes.
You've been given the duty to go into the booth. Don't do it though. Don't stay here, please.
Okay, I'll stay here with you.
Don't go away. But let's say you've been given the duty to go speak to NaNiwa, and he would listen to you.
Oh, he would listen to me. This changes things.
And he will listen to you.
Okay.
That's the important part here. If he listens to you and you're Coach Artosis, what do you say?
Okay, no more cannon rushes. By doing that early on, you've set into Jaedong's mind that there's a chance that you might do it again. So skip out on that. Go back to gateway openers. Go back to what you did in WCS Europe. Focus more heavily on Void Rays than Phoenixes. The Phoenixes nowadays just simply don't do as much as they used to do. Get that big sentry count out so that when Jaedong does his little pokes and prods with his Hydras, you can hold on. I think that's exactly what NaNiwa needs to do here.
The next map is Neoplanet S. I think we're going to see a very similar playstyle from Jaedong just throughout the entire of the tournament. But can NaNiwa's style work on this map? We saw it actually work against Tefl and Vortex both respectively previously. If it can work against them, can it work against Jaedong?
You know what? Force fields are very strong here, but you really have to be on top of things because the third base can be hard to take. There can be really good flanks. And as you were saying, Apollo, Jaedong sets up those flanks. He's not lazy about it. He's going to get in at every single angle. He's like sand at the beach.
Gets everywhere.
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 Every crack, every crevice.
Did you know, Artosis, if Jaedong was to win this series, in the entire of the WCS ranking system, he reaches number 2.
That is insane.
He reaches number 2 behind Innovation, who, of course, won Season 1 and is miles ahead of everyone else. If Jaedong was to win this tournament, he threatens number 1. He actually threatens number 1.
It's madness. If he wins this tournament, I say there's a good chance we're going to see him at BlizzCon.
Very high chance. Very high chance. And I think everybody would love to see the Tyrant back to his former self, and he is getting there, man. It's taken him a while to understand how StarCraft 2 works, but oh boy is he getting there. And it is time for map number 2 between Jaedong and NaNiwa, Neoplanet S. Currently 1 player leading. Now it's time to see, does it get tied up?
Well, the player leading, Apollo, is up here in the top right of Neoplanet S. Make some noise for EG Jaedong!
And down here on the bottom left-hand side of Neoplanet S is the blue Protoss. It's the Alliance NaNiwa! And of course, NaNiwa listens to Coach Artosis.
You said he would. You said he would. So here it is. He's going to be going for a gateway expansion. And I'm happy to see it. It's good to mix in some sort of cheese like a cannon rush, put the fear of that into your opponent. But will that actually stop Jaedong? Because we've seen in the past, the amount of mind games these two use against each other is almost unrivaled as far as any rivalries that I've seen, Apollo. They really mind game each other. Jaedong may think, oh, I was bottom spot on Belshir Vestige. Of course he's going to cannon rush. He's going back to Gateway Expands.
I know, and I completely agree with your mindset there and Jaedong's mindset as well. If I wasn't tied down to the caster desk, I'd go high five his booth, man, because going hatchery first after getting cannon rush in game 1, through what you just said, perfect.
Yeah.
To go 3 hatchery before spawning pool, the build that's one of the best against what we see here?
It is going to be a gold base. Come on, take a right. Go to the right. Oh, it's a drone scout. Never mind.
We were getting too excited.
That would have been way too cool, because there wouldn't be any way for NaNiwa to really punish that early on.
What happens if he does something crazy over here with this drone Autosis? He hasn't built a spawning pool. He's got 300 minerals Autosis.
Is he? No, he can't. No. What? What am I seeing here, Apollo? NaNiwa hasn't seen it, though.
How does this affect NaNiwa here, do you think?
Well, you know what? He's open with a Gateway Expand. He's going to be able to get Zealots out. It's going to slow his expansion, but is it going to slow it enough? I guess, I would say this is pretty good by Jaedong.
NaNiwa sees it and says, well. As the Zealot and Pro start to tackle this hatchery. Behind this, Jaedong did get an Extractor upon realizing what he's playing against. A second Zealot has to be chrono boosted out here to be able to clear this out fast enough.
You know what? From here, Apollo, Jaedong just needs to get his Zergling speed up. He needs to stay on top of any pylons that might be out on the map. As long as you can do that against a Gateway Expand, you don't have to be too afraid. And that is a fast robo, Apollo.
This is very, very fast here.
Oh, could we see quick Immortal play? This is something Jongbi used against Offensive Hatchery in WCS Korea this year.
Wow, this is incredible here if NaNiwa is going to be able to pull something like that off. Jaedong does let the hatchery complete here. It's going to be a long time before NaNiwa can really clear everything up. Of course, the Broodlings are going to come out and then the creep has to disappear. Oh boy.
As we all know, it takes a while for that creep to go away. He's even going to make a couple Zerglings right there. And this is slowing him down so much. What an investment from Jaedong, but you know what? Look at this. We're over 5 minutes in right now, and there's no Nexus even started.
NaNiwa's trying to build the Immortal, but he's supply capped, and now the Zerglings even break through.
No!
And the Overlord spots it anyway. A complete disaster. Things are falling apart here.
And Jaedong, I am certain, knows what this means. This can mean nothing else other than an Immortal, maybe 2, with a Warp Prism, and NaNiwa going up for a lot of pressure.
Oh man, things are not working out here. Jaedong's seen everything. He's got a lot of Zerglings out. I mean, could he force
a cancel right here? Imagine that for a moment, if you would. Speed finishes, run in. He right now has 12 Zerglings. They can force a cancel so fast, especially if these units get too far out of position.
Oh my god, where are these units going?
Oh my god, he could just...
Well, luckily he's going to see them here.
Okay.
He does see them if he hadn't seen them, but speed is about to complete. He has to be very, very careful here. That Stalker could get surrounded. He does have the Mothership Core though and 2 Zealots. Well,
just going to pick off a little bit, annoy him, force him back in. Oh, he's actually surrounded a Zealot. Nice little move there, too. And you know what? These types of moves are worth it right now. Jaedong has a bigger economy, has bigger production. Any units he can pick off against such a late Nexus really dull the edge of any attack that NaNiwa is going to bring out.
So if Jaedong's identified exactly what he's playing against here, he's decided to go and research the lair immediately or upgrade himself to the lair. Where is his destination? Is it a Hydralisk den here? Is that the first thing that usually comes to his mind? Is it again here?
Okay, there's 3 real possibilities here, I would say, Apollo. One, the craziness that is getting a Spire on 2 bases. He knows it's going to be Immortals, so maybe. Another, Infestors, not bad against the Sentry Immortal Zealot composition that you know is going to be coming out. And a third, well, Hydralisk. That's just kind of middle of the road there.
All right, we'll see what decision Jaedong chooses here. He sent a drone to the bottom right here. Is he going to expand to the bottom right-hand side corner? Oh, no. That's an Overlord that's going to spread creep, and it's going to build his tech structure of choice.
Yes, and that tells me Spire right there.
Well, he's building an Infestation Pit at home.
I do wonder.
What is this drone for?
Proxy evolution chamber.
Best way to upgrade.
Of course. We do have the Immortal drops starting to go out on the map here, warping in some units as well. Very powerful tech on. A lot of lings, some spine crawlers on the way. Of course, the infestation pit. Going to be a good choice as well. I really want to see actual infestors coming out, not swarm hosts.
All right, we'll see what upgrade gets researched from this infestation pit as NaNiwa does start to threaten. There's 4 queens in position here to make sure that that ramp is protected. Jaedong spots the warp in, 4 zealots, a couple of spines are on the way as well. 16 additional zerglings to meet the ones that are already out, currently at 37.
Remember, these zealots do not have +1 attacks, so the Zerglings will do all right. A nice time warp going down. A ton of Zerglings from behind going around the Immortal, but NaNiwa picks them up in the Warp Prism, goes up the ramp and drops them again.
Well, how much damage are they going to do here? The queens are going to start to target down the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism does escape. Likewise do the Immortals. It is going to be Swarm Host here. Swarm Host is the choice from Jaedong.
Well, I tell you what, since he's held this first little push, that's going to be great. You know, Swarmos, once you can actually get a decent number out, do very well against Zealot, Sentry.
The also spots the double Stargates, which is the tech choice follow-up here from NaNiwa. Jaedong on top of things.
You can see why they call him the Tyrant. This is a tyrannical domination, knowing at all moments what NaNiwa is doing.
So does this clearly just, with queens on the way, he's going to just try to siege from outside the natural of Jaedong. The Nidus Worm's going to activate as a transport for the queens, for the Swarm Host. And with the amount of queens he's already got, he's got 3 with 2 more on the way and more to be built, I'm sure.
You know, this build spotted here, yeah, you did spot it, so he's going to know probably what's coming up here. It's kind of scary. You really have to go into Colossus, and preferably double Robo Colossus, which he simply doesn't have. These Phoenixes, I don't know if they're going to be enough. There's going to be 7 queens out in a moment.
Well, Jaedong really displaying his versatility of strategies in this matchup. We haven't seen this from him at all for a very, very long time, if at all, in any broadcasted matches.
We haven't seen this build from anyone in a very long time, like maybe up to 6 months. This build went out of style, but Jaedong throwing down another Nidus. He's going for it, Apollo.
All right, let's see how NaNiwa can deal with this. He's down in supply the minute. Oh, the Warpers is going to be very careful. There's a lot of queens there. Does escape. But here's the siege. How is he going to deal with it? As you said, Colossus, the #1 weapon to deal with it.
Well, it looks like he's just going to focus on Phoenix. Better to be decisive than hem and haw and not get enough of anything. We'll see if he actually gets enough to lift up all these queens.
Oh, look at this. The robotic space coming down. He does not have time to get to Colossus.
No, he does not. There's just no way he will be broken before then.
Oh boy, Jaedong's knocking on the front door here. And I don't think he cares if anybody answers because he's going to break down the door anyway. A counterattack being launched here from NaNiwa. That's, I guess, the best thing about all of this is that he has the Warp Prism to counterattack with. But still, the gateways are going to fall soon. Very soon, actually. Yeah,
this wall is going to go, and then the units will start as well. He's even using all his Mothership Core energy, but we do have this counterattack going on right now. How much damage can be done? A lot of Speedlings coming back, surrounding those Immortals. Can he save the hatchery? It looks like he will.
Oh, it's going to be close. It seems like he will be able to, but it's going to be safe. But the Immortal drops down. It gets 1 hit to it. Oh, it gets saved. Nothing seems to be working here for the Swede. NaNiwa down majorly in supply.
Oh my God, 1 volley off from killing that hatchery. Some great micro on both sides, but Jaedong is looking unstoppable right now. Pushing forward, so many Zerglings. GG!
Jaedong takes a 2-0 versus NaNiwa here. 1 map away from being in the semi-finals. I should say again, but this is the Season 2 finals, man. This is a big, big tournament.
Biggest of the year so far, Apollo, and amazing. Jaedong barely breaking a sweat against Protosses. I'm in shock. The level of his play is phenomenal. The offensive hatchery, figuring out what his opponent was doing, getting those Speedlings in there, everything was so perfectly orchestrated.
And there was a small fist pump from Jaedong, realizing that he's doing it. 2-0 versus Rain, 2-0 versus MC, and now leading 2-0 versus NaNiwa, the player that knocked out the #1 ranked individual in the world, in the likes of Innovation. And Jaedong now 1 map away from 3-0 and getting his revenge, finally that sweet revenge versus NaNiwa.
Well, what can NaNiwa do now? I mean, He was going for his regular build, and Jaedong just had what seems like almost a hard counter by putting down that offensive hatchery. You slow down the expansion so much that you can't get into that very expensive Void Ray type composition so easily.
Artosis.
Yes.
What next? Star Station is the map that NaNiwa must play on, a map that many, if not all, Protoss players veto if they can.
That's such a good question. Taking a third here, near impossible at times, especially when you're trying to go for some sort of sky toss composition. Does he go back to a forge expand? What do you do against someone who's willing to go hatchery first, then hatchery in your natural and let it finish?
I don't know, man. It's only NaNiwa that can choose. Remember, Star Station is the map that he made the comeback against Jaedong on. If not picked up the series against, I think it was actually. Back at DreamHack, the semifinals in Stockholm a good few months ago. And it was a nail-biting one, a real nail-biting one. But we are going to see this map repeated once again here at the Season 2 finals. Can Jaedong close it out? Can he close it out, or does NaNiwa start a miracle comeback?
Well, we will see in just a moment. Jaedong versus NaNiwa. I hope you guys are half as hyped as we are, because Jaedong leading 2-0. In fact, that's like all the games he's beaten NaNiwa ever, more than all of them put together. Down here in the bottom left, the Tyrant, he needs to win one more. Make some noise for EG Jaedong.
And his opponent is the Blue Protoss, one of two non-Koreans left in this tournament. He goes by the name of NaNiwa!
This could be it, but a lot of times when I see a player the caliber of Jaedong go 2-0 with such great play against a foreign pro gamer, I normally just count them out. I'm like, okay, that's it. Like, Jaedong's gonna clean you up right now, and at worst case scenario, the next game. But this is NaNiwa, and NaNiwa has shown us time and again that at the brink of destruction, he oftentimes brings out his absolute best play and comes back. He doesn't, sometimes he self-destructs, but definitely not always, and I think this could be one of those situations.
I don't think this is self-destruction whatsoever. We've seen what NaNiwa's like when he gets in that kind of attitude. He leaves the game without any words. He doesn't think and doesn't talk to anybody. But after game number 2, he said GG JD. GG Jaedong. He accepted his defeat, and I think that shows a lot of strength in NaNiwa, who has time after time after time said publicly his biggest weakness is his mentality going into series, and for me that shows a lot of strength of him coming into this next map.
It's so true, Apollo, and let's talk about these strategies for just one moment, because Jaedong decided to open pool first. It looks like he was thinking, okay, you know what, I think I scared NaNiwa there. Maybe he goes for something like a Forge expansion again.
I agree. Definitely the thought process. You're able to smartly read into the players, Artosis. That's why I love you. You're able to do that very well.
Thanks.
When does, he's only just about to spot it. Does Jaedong take gas immediately here? But I was going to say that, but he's thrown down the third hatchery anyway. Surely must throw gas down here against NaNiwa and the history that they've had together, and the potential of 3-4 gateways coming down. Is incredibly high.
Yeah, if he doesn't throw down gas really soon, then he's going to have to go into Roach. Like, no matter what, he's going to have to make a Roach warren in a little bit, because either you have the speed to deny everything, or, well, you could always scout the Stargate, and that's going to help you out. The best that could come out of this from NaNiwa now is a 3-gate.
Well, what do you make of NaNiwa, who has not scouted in this game, just gone ahead and said, all right, this is what I'm going to do, whether I see anything he's done or not? Is this a good decision from him just to go, all right, there's my Stargate super fast, I'll delay my warp gate research, I'll get this down?
Yeah. He needs to do a very precise and decisive build here. Jaedong is showing that he's too good a reactive player. NaNiwa is a timing-based attacker, and he is going to go ahead and do the tightest build possible and see if he can kill Jaedong off here. And I think that is the right choice in this scenario.
Well, as soon as the Stargate finishes, NaNiwa has 100 gas banked up. The very second it finishes, and he builds that Phoenix immediately. As you say, a very precise build here from NaNiwa. We'll see how effective this can be. Can he pull something out of the bag? He needs to. Otherwise, he's going to finish here top 8, which is no small feat in itself.
No, well, he beat innovation to get here. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's already a champion. Thing is, can he beat Jaedong? Possibly. Let me get your take on this. Possibly one of the absolute best, like top 2 reactive Zergs I've ever seen.
Completely agree. The way that his scouting, his adapting, his unit composition switches, everything just makes sense. Jaedong gets it, and he's really displaying that, especially now he's got his grasp on how to play this matchup, which for a very long time was his biggest weakness. Playing in Pro League back in the day, he got sent out against a Protoss player, and a lot of fans gasped as they said, oh no, not again. It's a different time.
It is indeed. Well, we do have some spores on the way right now for Jaedong. He is one of these Zergs that will throw 2 spores at each base, making sure that drones and queens are going to be safe. Starting off with 1 for now. He's getting that Roach Warren as well as his lair. And NaNiwa is, what is with this speed of this 3rd Nexus?
This is incredibly fast. Very simply, if he's able to get this Nexus up and running and protect it, he's in an amazing position. If Jaedong can identify and build around that, then things look a little bit differently, but so far Jaedong has no information on this at all.
It is the dream scenario for NaNiwa to get away with this. Jaedong, as you mentioned, got kind of late gases. He didn't get his speed started until after the layer began, and NaNiwa cleaned up everything on his side of the map, so Jaedong simply is playing blind as well.
And this is great news for NaNiwa. Super good news that Jaedong's in the dark. He's even getting a bunch of drones here before the Spore Call's already in there. Picking up 5 drones, having a 3rd Nexus down that's gone completely unscouted. And now with the Twilight Council coming in, which is an interesting choice.
It is, isn't it? What is this? Is this charge? Is this a quick storm? Is this Dark Templars? That's hard to say.
Well, he started a Void Ray alongside of this as well. And I don't think it's definitely not Blink here. That's the one we can eliminate straight away.
Yeah, you don't go Blink Void Ray in this matchup, I would say. I think it could be charge. Yeah, there it is. And this is just like a different variation to get into that type of unit composition that he's had so much success with lately.
Well, Jaedong's on his way over. So far has played this completely blindly, just reactive to what he can see, which is the Phoenixes. For the first time, he has an Overseer on the 3rd Nexus of NaNiwa, and he'll spot it and say, well, I wish I'd got there a little bit earlier than now, as this is very difficult for the time now for him to do anything about it.
No, he doesn't have the right reactions in place to just go kill this or really damage it that much, to be honest. I think that this goes into a big macro game, and there goes the Spire.
What do you think the Spire's for in this scenario? I mean, right now he's spotted everything. He's seen the Twilight Council.
I think he's assuming that NaNiwa will go into Colossus play.
Okay.
And that's for Corruptors. That's my thought here, but it's not the case.
That +1 attack.
Oh my god, is he got no?
Yeah, it does complete.
Doesn't quite get it.
Just completes in the nick of time there.
Oh, misses a force field there. Doesn't want to lose any of these sentries. Really nice micro by NaNiwa. Doesn't lose them at all.
Did lose 1 sentry right at the start, but this is a good trade-off here. Picked up quite a few Roaches, killed off quite a few Zerglings, and NaNiwa just hold on to a little bit of pressure here. But we have 12 Hydralisks on the way. Just looking 1 second through NaNiwa's vision. He's seen everything. He's seen all the tech structures. He's seen the forge being rebuilt.
Well, okay, so what is this Spire for? Because he's starting to see Void Rays, so now I feel like the Spire just not the best choice. An Infestation Pit would have looked better against what he should be thinking is going on.
Unless he starts +1 attack right away, deals with Ling Hydra initially, and starts to bank up gas across these 8 gases that he'll start to mine from shortly, and then look for a switch over. I think that's going to be the case, actually. I think it's going to be Mutilis here. And I think that he's going to put a little bit of pressure on with Ling Hydra against what he knows is air and Zealot charge, and then the switch up will come if he can do big damage. The main focus in NaNiwa here, it's very simple. Kill the Batman, but more importantly, don't take damage here, Autosis. He has to survive with as many units as he can.
This is very, very important indeed. He does not want to lose any of those Void Rays or the Sentries. The Zealots are fine to go. This attack coming in, and a nice time warp going down. The Zealots charging forward. A good Guardian Shield as well, but does he actually have enough units? A big
a lot of
Zealots. I think he's fine, Apollo, breaking through these Hydras, and Jaedong is on the run.
And not only does NaNiwa not take damage, he deals a lot of damage back over to Jaedong. Causes a lot of death for these Hydras. They are never getting home against this charge. And all of a sudden, Jaedong now, what do you spend your gas on, buddy?
Mutalisks.
Of course, Autosis.
Yeah, but guess what? There's already Phoenixes back on the way. One thing that did happen during that is the Hydras targeted down Phoenixes. That's a big tell that you want to go mutas, especially when you're Jaedong.
And this is a big timing before he can really get his gas out there, get those Mutalisks in play.
Oh my God. Can he kill the 4th base, Apollo? This would be huge for NaNiwa.
He doesn't have a recall though, so if this doesn't work somehow, he's not getting out anywhere. But he does have a lot of units warping in. He's got Archons in there. NaNiwa's dealing damage to the 4th base. He's going to bring it down. He's got a supply lead here. And the +1 attack for Jaedong is not ready. If he continues to warp in anti-air units, I think NaNiwa can do this.
He may be able to. He's pushing forward right now. Jaedong flying up the map a little bit, coming back in, but there are a lot of Archons and Void Rays here doing a great job against these mutas, but he's starting to eliminate them.
He's starting to eliminate them. One Archon doing a lot of damage. He does get picked off on the right-hand side, but the Void Ray's just doing enough here with more and more units being warped in. If NaNiwa can keep up the pressure here, I think he can keep on going stronger because the Zealots are at this stage completely untouched.
Oh man, so many more Zealots coming in. It's going to take the mutas a while to clean this up. In the meantime, we have more Phoenixes on the way, as well as the Fleet Beacon. He's going to be able to get Phoenix range, and I think NaNiwa is going to start a comeback.
He is starting to come back because he's breaking into the 3rd base. Those Zealots aren't going to die before they kill that hatchery, I don't think, here. That's a lot of Zealots, and the Phoenixes are just going to do the work across these Mutalisks with the upgrades coming in behind this. I'm sure he may even want to slow it down. It doesn't matter.
GG! NaNiwa fighting back in game number 3. Jaedong still leads 2-1. But that was some fantastic play from NaNiwa. That is the type of play we need to see from him.
And I expect nothing less for the rest of these games here. He's not phased. He is not phased. And that's what we expected. We could see through into his mentality there. We didn't think that he was phased going into this next map, and he clearly showed it too.
Indeed. He knew he needed to take a step back and execute a very strong build to the best of his ability, because that's where NaNiwa truly does shine. You know, if it's a really sharp build, Jaedong's reactive style isn't going to work quite as well.
Well, the next map is Derelict Watcher, another map that not too many Protoss players do enjoy playing on. They'll play it, of course they have to sometimes like now, but NaNiwa's picked up a map win on a map that not many Protoss players like to play on, Star Station. Yeah. Derelict Watcher is another one of those maps where if NaNiwa can do it at Star Station, surely he can do it here as well.
Well, you know, I think Jaedong's going to probably adapt his play a little bit this time, but we'll talk more about that in just a minute, guys. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you tell everyone. Get on your Facebook, on Reddit, on Twitter. Let them know that we have such an epic series going on right here at the WCS Season Finals, and we'll be right back after this brief break. Welcome back to WCS Season 2 Finals. We are right now in the round of 8 with an epic rematch. Two budding rivals, NaNiwa, a strong contender for the best foreigner in the world, against Jaedong, the tyrant himself from Brood War, trying to make his name again in StarCraft 2.
And Jaedong surely now must be climbing the ranks of one of the best Zerg players in StarCraft 2. Slowly but surely, he's climbing up the ladder of who is regarded as the best Zerg players with performances. But NaNiwa's just been at the top when it comes to, you know, the best non-Korean players. He's always been top 3, and he's really putting himself out there in Heart of the Swarm as #1. The #1 prior to that was Stefano. Stefano didn't perform in Heart of the Swarm. NaNiwa's picked up second places left and right. He's beaten amazing players left and right. Innovation, the biggest name. NaNiwa took him out 2-0, and NaNiwa right now is in the middle of a comeback. Can he continue it, Artosis?
He can, but this game here is going to be harder than the last one, perhaps. Derelict Watcher. This map can be very difficult in Protoss vs. Zerg. That third base way out there taking a fourth, difficult as well.
Thank you everybody for coming out here. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun here at Gamescom Cologne, watching the best game that there is, Artosis, StarCraft 2, with some of the best players worldwide. Jaedong versus NaNiwa. This series is about to continue. Jaedong just asking for an extra 30 seconds. He looks very focused. He looks like he's thinking a lot now.
Yeah, he's really going over in his mind. You have to plan out Derelict Watcher very well. You know, how do you take that third base if you take it? If you do a 2-base all-in, which one is it? Zergs have gotten so good at holding those.
They have. But I want to put something out there for you. Mm-hmm. In the weird kind of games that we saw, with a Cannon Rush and Swarm Host Play, Nidus Worm, Jaedong picked up the wins.
Yes.
But when the game seemed more solid and more stable than just normal,
yes,
NaNiwa picked up the win.
Well, I think that these are their strengths. Jaedong I see as an extremely reactive Zerg. I don't think that he has any like highly memorized build orders or anything like that. He scouts, he figures it out, and he reacts. NaNiwa, on the other hand, the exact opposite. This guy needs to just execute.
All right, well, it is time to get underway with the next map of this series. And spawning down here, one of two players as the red Zerg. It is none other than EG Jaedong.
Looking so focused at the moment. He wants to close this out here, does not want to go to map 5. But I tell you who does want to go to map 5, up here in the top right of Derelict Watcher. Give it up for Alliance NaNiwa.
NaNiwa stepping up his game, losing the first 2 maps, but was able to pick up the last one now on Star Station. Can that trend continue for NaNiwa? Well, he's able to pick up this next one.
You know what? I think it can. He's already showing us he's going to go for a gateway expand. That's what he's best with. But does he go for that same type of style? I feel like this game, Apollo, if it starts out kind of similar to the game before, which I think it will, I think Jaedong won't go quite as quick later. I think he's going to go for a quicker speed, and if he does do that, the third base is not going to be able to be taken so quickly.
Yeah, I definitely feel that the biggest thing for Jaedong to think about and look back on is that he simply didn't know about the third Nexus for so long.
Yeah.
It powered up NaNiwa way too much than it should have. It was a risk. NaNiwa's a risk taker. He's willing to call those shots. He's not going to just sit back and say, nah, it's not worth it. I might lose the game if I do this. No, NaNiwa does it. If he feels it can work, he will do it. And that gave him the big edge that he needed in that map.
There's no question about it, Apollo, but I tell you what, at the same time, I think if NaNiwa sees that Jaedong has gotten a quick gas, a quick speed upgrade, he's not going to go for that third base.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of this comes down to, well, of course, NaNiwa's choice of build order is important, but I think Jaedong has to react a little bit different to what he's seeing here this game.
Both of these players, absolute veterans when it comes to playing at tournaments and esports events. They hardly get phased at all until it cuts down to the last few moments of the maps, on the last map, should I say. So I'm expecting some high quality stuff from these players once again. Jaedong, 3 hatcheries, no gas to kick off this map.
Okay. Well, you know, he is figuring out exactly what's going on still, but if he does that same build as last game, that's really going to be weird for me, Apollo. It didn't come close to working for him. He got rolled right over.
I wonder if NaNiwa is going to... Well, he hasn't scouted again, though, but just remember, because previously NaNiwa didn't scout at all. He chose his strategy, he chose his build. In this game, though, he didn't attempt to move out with the probe, and unfortunately he's going to get pushed back all the way.
Yeah, and, well, you know, he's going to have that mothership core, and the Zerglings are going to run back from that, of course.
But no fast Stargate, unlike previously. He's decided to research Warp Gate here. This usually means that we're going to see a couple of extra gateways come down on this natural.
Definitely could be. You know, he does have that mothership core. He is trying to send out a probe right now. Thing is, right now his opponent is really on top of it. Jaedong sees what's going on, and there you go. The Stargate actually does come down, but as you said, you know, it is after the Warp Gate.
I mean, so what's the big difference here between the two? Between not getting Warp Gate research and getting a fast Stargate, and then this, or actually the probe's going to get in. But what's the big difference? Why delay the Stargate compared to not doing that previously?
Well, this one, in this version of it, you can do some Zealot pressure as soon as these gateways finish, because you're going to have that Warp Gate. And in fact, he lured the Zerglings away, brought out the mothership core, and brought out a second probe. So it does look like that's what his plan is. He's going to warp in a few Zealots and see what he can get done. But will Jaedong see this? It looks like he'll scout it right now, Apollo.
Oh, and he's got the probe hit against the wall there. It did slip away just about, but he has spotted it, so he's kind of got the clues on and immediately starts a roach warren upon starting to figure out what NaNiwa had planned.
Oh, and look at this. He's going after this queen, and as the queen goes off the creep, there is a good chance he's going to go ahead and kill it, Apollo.
There's another queen coming down, but there's no creep connected in between the bases here. It's going to get slowed down. Well, it's going to get slowed down anyway here with the time warp coming in, and that queen is going to fall.
Fantastic play by NaNiwa. Look at this. He's forced a lot of units. He's killed a queen. He might end up killing a second drone, and he's just canceled his attack. He's not going to attack. Now he knows he's forced all these units. This is a small victory for NaNiwa.
Excellent play here from NaNiwa, throwing down the double assimilators. His follow-up here, he's got a lot of gas to mess around with here, but he's got another pylon here. Another pylon in this location with gases being completed.
You know what? When you make all these units and your opponent didn't attack, normally you're going to bring him over and put some pressure on your opponent. Maybe he's going to wait for that, warp in a few Zealots, and just do a little bit of counter damage if he can.
Well, 3 Zealots just got warped in on that pylon now.
Oh, wow.
And he's saving them.
Oh, he's going to pull Zealots. Looks like he's going to wait for 6 probably, but with 5 roaches on the way, with Zergling's speed almost done, I'm not sure what that's really going to accomplish.
Well, it depends on where these Zerglings and roaches are going to be here, and how much money does NaNiwa invest. He's got so much gas banked up because he keeps on warping in Zealots. 2 more Zealots just got warped in over there as well. Total of 5. NaNiwa's seen the roaches with the mothership core.
Well, the roaches, he's going to go anyways, I guess. The roaches are still in the vicinity.
He has a time warp available here to use on the roaches if need be.
Well, these Zealots can do a much better job than surrounds that queen. A nice move again by NaNiwa. Will we see the time warp as well? It's having a hard time even catching up with these roaches right now, especially as they get on creep. In the meantime, Speedling's going back towards for a counterattack.
Well, the mothership core is going to get picked off here. Unfortunately, he tries to recall out, and does recall out there, saves the mothership core, but 2 Zealots did get in the mineral line.
You think that was really worth it, Apollo, that little attack?
No, it was not, Autosis. I do not think so.
Yeah, I think he might be a little bit too stuck on this idea because his Stargate was so delayed for that Warp Gate research. He decided, I have to get something done with it. But at the end of the day, good defense by E.G. Jaedong.
And I'd say that Jaedong's in a pretty comfortable position right now. Doesn't have a major advantage. I'd say still kind of equal until we see something develop from this point on. But NaNiwa's thrown down the third Nexus. He's also thrown down double Stargates here. He's going over to his Void Rays again.
He certainly is. And no Hydralisk Den yet. As I say that, Hydralisk Den being added. Now, the one thing I would love to see, because normally Jaedong goes from that Hydralisk Den into a Spire. Right, he's not going to force a cancel, right? That would, no.
No, surely not.
Okay. I'm just getting a little bit too crazy there. But I feel like this game, Jaedong is going to want an Infestation Pit.
Infestation Pit? But Spire comes down anyway here for Jaedong.
That is Jaedong for you. He loves that Spire.
He does love that Spire indeed. Roaches do come across the map here, but run unfortunately into a Void Ray here, and that's going to pick up a lot of kills if these roaches keep on moving over. So NaNiwa, for the time being, is going to be able to sit on this third Nexus, and he will get it up and running with more and more Void Rays coming out. The question is now, what does Jaedong build to deal with the amount of Void Rays that are coming. He's seen 2 now. He clearly knows what's going on.
You know, I got to tell you, I hope it's not Corruptors. I think that would be definitely a wrong choice here.
What happens if he just doesn't build Hydras at all and goes over straight to Mutalisks? Straight away.
You know, if he catches him off guard with it, he can win with that huge tempo advantage and the initial damage that they deal. But with 3 Stargates out, Phoenixes are going to be made very, very quickly. So that could become an issue.
NaNiwa's trying to figure out what's going on here. He needs to know what NaNiwa's building. It's not so much the tech structures he's looking for, it's units. And they're being spent on. He picks up the Spire Scout there at the bottom, the left-hand side, as you see, but also sees the Hydralisk Den. And
everything's upgrading too, so it's actually very hard to tell exactly what's going to be coming. Jaedong's actually hiding his tech very well and banking a lot of money. In fact, he's banking so much, Apollo. I think part of it is to make sure that NaNiwa doesn't know, but I think it might be for Mutas.
Well, we don't know. NaNiwa doesn't know.
Oh, 21 roaches. Last thing I expected.
Well, with this amount of Void Ray count, it's that's a little bit crazy here.
How is he going to actually get through here? Those Void Rays are going to kill off. You know, the one thing he will do is kill all the sentries unless there's a Warp Home.
But these Void Rays are going to do a lot.
Yeah.
There's currently 5 Queens. Queen Roach here. It's a bit of a mix of Queen Roach here. Interesting. Very interesting choice.
Yeah. Well, Queen Roach, okay, I've seen it work before against this type of composition. I'm not sure when NaNiwa's using it, though. In the meantime, NaNiwa is preparing for Mutas, so he really thinks that's the case.
Well, a counterattack's going to happen here by Jaedong, potentially. I think he's going to send Roaches over. He's going to have to recall back NaNiwa. He has spotted the Roaches making their way across. And there's the recall. Good recall back. It actually gets there in time so that these Roaches aren't going to pick up a Nexus kill or something like that, but they still can be very scary. But what do you think about Roach Queen? It's such a unique mix of units here to deal with heavy Void Rays. I've never seen this been used. Well, you know what? It might end up working out, but those Void Rays are going to kill everything so bad. If he could get all the sentries, then the Queens can actually get in close and maybe start killing off Void Rays, but there's such an air force here from NaNiwa. He can even pick up all the Queens right now. 4 additional Queens coming in. He's already at 9. He's going up to 13 Queens here, as well as the Infestation put coming in. I think this is for Infestors now. Well, I'm quite confident it's in Infestors. Infestor Terrans, Pathogen Glands, Fungal Growth. A great choice indeed, and truth be told, even if he goes for, let's say, Swarm Hosts, that'll help out as well, because how does NaNiwa actually end up dealing with such a sieged position? But we'll see. NaNiwa trying to push in. This might be a little bit overzealous, but he's lifting up quite a few Queens. Lifting up a few Queens. He's targeting down the hatchery as well here. So many lifts going down right now, and the hatchery does fall. NaNiwa now going after these Queens as well, but they do keep landing, starting to deal some damage to this Air Force, but NaNiwa has so much. On the other side of the map, though, he's going to have to recall the Roaches are in. If he pulls down the Nexus, he's also going to trade blows of economy. One hatchery falls down, it looks like the Nexus may as well. What is this game? This is absolutely insane. Oh my god, they're both basically going to go down to 2 bases, mining it looks like. Indeed, the Nexus does fall. Jaedong pushing forward, but so many Void Rays. Beautiful force fields. The Void Rays are going to go to town on these Roaches. They're going to kill all of them. There's no burrow, there's nowhere to hide. They're dealing a lot of damage here, and Jaedong's supply is dropping. It is indeed, but you know what? The Phoenixes are out of energy, and looks like the Roach is still going to be somewhat useful, taking out quite a few sentries, but a lot of his supply being killed off here by the mass Void Rays. Of course, here we need to see NaNiwa throw down that Nexus to get that back up and running again. He really needs that. Currently, we have Jaedong with 2 upgrades on the way for his Hydralisks. He's got Pathogen Glands on the way. We will see Infestors come out. But that is important. The air count is 8 Void Rays and 8 Phoenixes against 20 Hydralisks with 2 upgrades soon. And Infestors on the way. You know what? When the Infestors get out, there's going to be almost no chance for NaNiwa. I think he realizes this because he was over at that base. He saw the Infestation Pit. So he has his Twilight just finished. We should be seeing a Templar Archives going down any second. Yeah, he needs it. He needs the feedback if he can. He needs the Storm if he can. But also, he doesn't have that much money. He's just spent a lot of... Well, actually, he then decided to get Zealot Charge, then cancelled it, decided 3 more Sentries and more Zealots. He might be afraid of an actual attack coming in, but I don't think that's Jaedong's plan at all. He's going to wait until these upgrades finish, until he has the Infestors. And while, of course, you're going to need Sentries against that, Fungal Growth is this army's worst enemy. Oh my god, Jaedong is building one big attack. NaNiwa's going to have to prepare himself mentally. He's got the mothership core with him as he's moving out, so it's not as fragile as it may seem, as long as he doesn't lose that mothership core.
Well, the first infestors are popping out. That 2-2 is just finishing right now. NaNiwa's upgrade's really kind of bad compared to that only +1 attack on ground and air.
Is NaNiwa walking into Jaedong's attack here, though? Because Jaedong is building up, ready to attack. NaNiwa's on the other side of the map, looking aggressively forward.
But look at this, actually. Jaedong, where are you going here? Does he not realize what's about to happen? No, he actually evacuates that base.
Oh, Jaedong knows, man. Jaedong can see these units being warped in.
Well, at the same time, he is doing a little bit of a counterattack, and oh, look at that. He actually baited him to go home with that army with just a handful of roaches.
Quite a few zealots left over, though. Make sure he gets the hatchery down, so that's a good win, and then force fills the sentries out so they can return back. NaNiwa's doing well. Getting zealot charge is very crucial against these Hydras. He needs to get in there fast. He needs to get in there strong. +2 attack will help out a lot here for NaNiwa as well. But he's not ready yet. Jaedong is.
Not. No,
I feel Jaedong is.
They both have really high supplies, but fungal growth. Oh!
Jaedong!
The ultimate fungal growth going down. Another one as well.
The mothership core can't recall.
He's already recalled all of it before, and this is so bad for NaNiwa, but hold on. He's got some nice force heals going out. The fungal's not hitting quite as much anymore, but the Hydra's getting such a great surface area. NaNiwa's entire army falling, and it looks like Jaedong is going to advance.
GG! Jaedong's beaten NaNiwa. 2 attempts in the past, he failed twice, but the third time Jaedong has done it, and he is in the semi-finals Autosis, and he is happy about it as well.
And NaNiwa has fought a great fight, Apollo. Amazing play by NaNiwa, but at the end of that match, it is Jaedong that moves on. The Tyrant, I feel, is back.
The Tyrant is here, man. What a performance so far from Jaedong. Here's the dying moment. Watch NaNiwa realizing that he messed up. He knew he messed up there. The Void Rays are out in the open. The fungal got locked on, and with that lock on, also came the win. And that's something we don't see too often from Jaedong. Not something we see too often.
He's actually highly emotional right now, and as you said, Apollo, he won so many world-class, hardest tournaments in the world, tournaments before in Brood War, but it's been so hard for him in StarCraft 2, and he feels it getting closer and closer and closer. He's on a Protoss killing spree, and his next opponent is first.
Another Protoss player, and Jaedong finds himself in another semi-final. Another semi-final from Jaedong. Is he going to fall short in the semi-final? Will he get to another final in itself?
He very well may, Apollo. This is history in the making. Glad you guys are tuned in, because you'd be kicking yourself if you missed this live.
This is absolutely incredible. We're happy to be a part of it. I hope you guys are as well. The next game that's coming up on this stage, on this stream, is remarkable. It's going to be Liquid's Tasia going up against SK Telecom One's Rain. What a matchup that is as well.
This whole round of 8, this whole tournament might be the best that we've had in StarCraft 2's history.
I completely agree with you, Autosis. The Season 2 finals of the World Championship Series. And it is time to hear from the one, the only, E.G. Jaedong.
All right. Wow. Standing on stage with the man, the Tyrant. It's Jaedong from Evil Geniuses, now moving on to the semifinals of WCS Season 2 finals here at Gamescom. You guys are already, I don't even need to tell you to give him a big applause, because this guy just came out and beating out, some would call his rival, NaNiwa. Let's see what he has to say. 자, 그럼 나니와 선수와 여러 번 만나셨는데 드디어 오늘 3대1로 이기셨어요. 기분이 어떠세요?
그동안 나니와 선수한테 계속 져가지고 오늘 경기는 무조건 이겨야겠다고 생각하고 왔는데 승리하니까 정말 좋고요. 네, 뭐 말로 표현을 못하겠어요.
You know, I've lost to NaNiwa continuously in the past, and so I came in here thinking I have to win today, and having won, I'm speechless. I'm out of words. I can't describe it. I just feel really, really good. You know, to break that record, yeah, give him a big round of applause for that. I mean, he's come a long way to finally break that series and win against NaNiwa. 자, so let's talk about some of the games. I mean, we had some amazing moments this whole time. 자, 그러면 저희 이번 그 게임 때 다 재밌었는데 이제 저희 첫째 게임 그 히드라리스크와 이제 바퀴로 굉장히 잘 싸우셨어요. 뭐 어떤 분들은 이제 그거는 이재동 선수가 많이 할 수 있는 빌드다 그렇게 말씀하시는데 그걸 그냥 첫째 게임은 내가 하는 대로 해야겠다 그런 생각으로 하신 건가요?
네, 특별히 따로 준비한 건 없고 상대가 캐논러시 해가지고 최대한 맞춰가면서 하려고 생각했어요.
그 캐논러시를 보셨을 때 바로 딴 데 가서 해처리를 만드셨잖아요. 그 반응이 그냥 침착하게 하신 거예요? 아니면 잠깐 그래도 좀 당황하셨었나요?
생각을 안 했는데 캐논러시 당하고 뭐 최대한 그냥 그 동요하지 않으려고 플레이했어요.
Talking about the first game, of course, the cannon rush attempt coming in from NaNiwa. He says, yeah, it put me back a little bit, but I wasn't too surprised or anything. You know, I just stayed calm and I said, I just need to play it out, it's okay. And he got through game one just fine, of course. 자, 그러면 저희 둘째 게임, 해처리를 또 상대방 앞마당에 먼저 넣으셨어요, 전진해서. 그거는 그렇게 이제 첫 승리를 하시면 그렇게 할 준비가 되셨던 건가요?
네, 어느 세트에 할지는 생각을 안 했는데 1경기를 이겨가지고 2경기에서 그렇게 했어요.
And the proxy hatch in game two, asking about that, Jaedong says, well, I came in with a plan to use it. I wasn't quite sure when I was going to go for it, but I had just won game one, so I might as well go for a little bit more aggression, and that worked out, of course, in his favor. 자, 그러면 셋째 세트 지시고 넷째 세트 좀 긴장감에 게임을 하셨을 것 같아요. 너무 가까웠는데 셋째 세트 때 지셔가지고 셋째 세트 진 다음에 어떤 생각으로 다시 임하셨어요?
제가 충분히 이길 수 있는 경기였는데 너무 성급하게 게임해서 져가지고 솔직히 좀 불안했어요. 4경기 때도 3세트 져가지고 긴장을 좀 더 많이 한 것 같아요.
And the third set, talking about game three, you know, it's a game I should have won, Jaedong says, but I think I got a little bit sloppy, a little bit rushed, and that actually made me much more nervous for game four because I was like, what if I make the same mistakes? But we all know that's not what happened because Jaedong ends up winning game four and now moving on to the semifinals here to face LGIM first. Let's see what he has to say about that. 자, 그러면 이제 그 준결승전 진출하시면서 LGIM 퍼스트 선수랑 이제 대진이 벌써 짜졌어요. 뭐 특별하게 뭐 예상을 하시거나 뭐 준비를 하실 게 있으신 것 같으세요? 아니면 그냥 내가 하던 대로 무난하게 하면 되겠다 그렇게 생각하시나요?
그냥 하던 대로 해야 될 것 같고요. 특별히 뭐 생각하고 있는 것도 없고 지금까지 프로토스만 잡고 올라왔기 때문에 뭐 4강도 프로토스 뭐 충분히 이길 수 있다고 생각합니다.
그 퍼스트 선수가 최강의 프로토스는 아직도 다 한국에 있다 그렇게 말씀하셨어요. 지금 이제 나니와 선수를 이기셨지만 퍼스트 선수가 그렇게 자신만만하게 말씀을 하셨는데 어떻게 생각하세요? 똑같다고 생각하세요?
뭐 해보진 않아서 그냥 잘하는 선수라고 알고 있는데 뭐 저의 기세를 막을 수는 없을.
And of course, Jaedong had to play a lot of Protoss in this tournament. And talking about going up against First, he said, I think I just need to keep it up. I've been beating all the Protosses here. And of course, that begs the question. First saying the best Protosses are still in Korea, though. Jaedong says, you know what, First, I've watched you play. You seem pretty good, but I don't think you can block my momentum in this tournament. So Tyrant speaking up for himself. And let's just see what he has to say for his fans, because this is a moment I'm sure a lot of Jaedong fans have been waiting for. 자, 그럼 저희 해외 팬들한테 한 말씀만 남겨주시죠.
Did you guys watch me? The Tyrant is back!
From the man himself, the Tyrant is back. Once again, give a big round of applause to EG Jaedong moving in to the semifinals of WCS Season 2 Finals. And with that, let's throw it over to Red Eye.
Thanks very much, Shobra. Yes, congratulations. Raise your dongers everywhere. Ding dong, the witch is dead, and the donger goes through to the semi-final. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about right now, but I hope you enjoyed that game. It was a heck of a match from NaNiwa and from Jaedong. That's 2 in a row. Dare we dream we get 2 more? We have 2 more quarterfinals still to come today before tomorrow's semi-finals and the grand final of season 2. Keep your tweets coming. We've seen some crazy tweets from you this afternoon using the hashtag #WCS. Keep them coming. Also make sure you follow StarCraft on Twitter and on Facebook.com/Twitter. When we come back, it's Tasia versus Rain.